So Noah, just looking at your video the other day and thinking about, the concerns that you have, primarily control, um, command of your pitches, being able to throw strikes. So I want to look at your mechanics real quick and, from a, positional, um, I guess, commentary, you get to some good positions. In other words, you could say you have an initial first move with the back hip, you get it going a little bit. You're not vertical on the back leg. I think the big problem is coming for you is we look at just the speed of the overall movement, okay? Um, and I'll show you kind of where I'm coming to that conclusion. If you subscribe to the top velocity or the triple extension kind of approach, one of the things you want to look for is the point at which the front knee passes the front hip. And what you're looking for at that point is a linear force vector from ankle to knee. And you see that you're getting nowhere near that, even though you have, an initial first move, okay, you're kind of, the back side is not moving fast enough to get to where you need to be. In essence, what you're doing is you're allowing your front hip, okay, to start swinging open at that point. Okay, so even though you have an initial first move, it's just a long, slow, arcing opening of the hips. Okay, if we took you from right there, you say, wow, the arm's getting into a great position, so you got great arm action, you got a great front stride, front leg stability, you're really getting out and over your front side. Hang on, I do see a little bit of a bounce there that tells us we're collapsing on that front knee. So there we could get a little stronger. In other words, if you watch this back foot right here, notice how it's going to drag on top of the shoelaces. See that little bounce you get right there? What that tells us is that front knee, okay, instead of being stable at that point, you're going to see it kind of collapse down. That needs to be, especially right here in the hip, let me get rid of some of this, but right here in the hip, that needs to be stable enough that we're rotating the trunk around it. But see how that collapses down? So that tells us there's a little bit of instability there at landing. I didn't see that earlier, but that's something we can work on. But I would say the big thing that's causing your control issues, you're moving slow, okay? Your body's moving slowly into this opening. This should be moved down the mound with our both feet pointing towards first base. We should still be pointing towards first base. Still, we should be pointing towards first base. Then the hips come flying open, okay? You actually start swinging open right about there. You see the foot start to turn there. So that's, which leads to somewhere along this path, somewhere along that path is where the ball is going to be released. And there's, the slower we move, the more time we have to hit any number of these spots. The faster we move, the faster we get into that release point, the less room there is to make mistakes. So I would say a couple of things we want to consider working on. As we get into this leg kick, I still would like to see you get a little more loaded there, okay? In other words, engage the hips more, get a little higher leg kick, engage the core more. But at that point, even if you can keep, lead with the bottom spike, okay? If you look at the heel spike on your front foot, lead to the plate with that instead of the side of your foot. That's going to force this back hip to do the work, driving you down the mound instead of just swinging it open. Okay, but the longer we can drive that back hip towards home plate, and the faster you can do that, the less room there is for you making mistakes left and right. I think that's a big factor in your control. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. We can talk about it more later. All right.